I want to welcome you guys so much to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. How are you guys doing today? It is a great day. I'm so excited to be here, and I have an amazing author on the show. We finally got this thing right, Jeff. I am telling you, we are on, and we're on like Flynn. Or is it in like Flynn? I think it's in like Flynn.
I think you're right.
So, Jeff, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
So you have a book, and it is, I'm gonna get this right. The 13th Street Haberdashery, right? Haberdashery. Okay, good. And before you even get into that book, why are you writing? What was it that triggered you into becoming an author?
I've always enjoyed writing, even as a young person, but I had several full careers, very busy, raising 3 kids and grandkids and so forth. And it wasn't until I retired. I had a very demanding career in the insurance industry. And it wasn't until I retired that I really had time to start getting my stories out, if for lack of a better way of expressing it. And so I started writing.
Mm-hmm. I understand that because my mom, she had her career before she had me. Right. So she said that she was in the thick of it, basically. And so she had a lot of help raising me when I was little, but then she came back and picked me up because she didn't want me not to know who she was.
Right.
And so I didn't want to make that mistake of having my career before my kids, so I had my kids. So I totally get it. You want to have that moment that you're with your children, that you're raising them, that you're completely involved with them and your grandchildren. But now it's your turn.
I hope so.
Now it's your turn. So tell me about this story.
All right. The story is kind of set in 1968. It goes back to 1968. What happens in 1968 is 3 girls disappear from this small city somewhere in the Midwest, and there was just no trace of them. They just disappeared off the face of the earth. They were to join their boyfriends had a little rock band, and they were to join them near Chicago for the end of the summer tour, and then ride home together in the bus and just kind of hang out. They never showed up, and they looked for them for a long time. There was an investigation, if you will, and so forth. They never found even a trace of them. So they closed the investigation after about 2 or 3 years, under the assumption that you're too young to remember the 60s, but I grew up in the 60s, and there's a lot of people dropping out and heading for California to join the peace movement, the hippie movement. The rock scene was just developing really into what it became and so forth. And so there are a lot of people were just heading for California, and the final assumption was by law enforcement that they just decided to leave. But 50 years later, the little brother of one of the girls was hunting, and he found his sister's Mustang in a swamp. And that starts the whole story. That's where my story starts.
Is this a true story?
No,
it just seems like it is. Like, okay.
It reads like a true story. Somebody who read it who read it said to me, said, "This really happened." I said, "Not that I know of."
It does. What you're telling me does read like a lot of true stories. Like, when people go missing, and a lot of times you have those divers that dive into the lake and they find the bodies, they find the skeletons or the cars and stuff. Wow.
Well, they didn't find the bodies in the car.
Oh, what?
Yeah, no, that's where the haberdashery comes in. The haberdashery is a hat store, basically in England, and so in the story, these 3 guys that were in this band were also lifelong friends. They've been friends since grade school, and along the line, one of the boys was a reader, and he read about this haberdashery. He just liked the sound of the word. And so they found this place, and what it was a crawl space under a gymnasium, and it was, I don't know if you've ever been under one, but there's a lot of space underneath a lot of these big buildings, and this gymnasium had a big crawl space under it. And these 3 boys found it, and they kept it a secret. and they went down there and played themselves. And so when they wanted a code name for it, like younger boys do, so that they could talk about it and nobody know what they're talking about. So they called it the 13th Street Haberdashery.
Oh, wow.
So this secret place of theirs was called the Haberdashery. There's where the title comes from. And I don't want to get, don't want to give away the story, but
No.
the haberdashery plays into the story.
Ooh, this is kind of like a mystery, magical kind of sci-fi.
Well, it is. Some might call it sci-fi. I mean, there's a mystical element in it, and that the ghosts of the three girls, after 50 years, come back and try to get their murder solved. So that, of course, nobody knew it was a murder until this story developed.
Well, I kind of figured.
Nobody knew they were murdered there. They were just expecting them to come home,
Wow. Well, I kind of figured they were gone, but this is like a twist. Like, wow, that is so cool. So, okay, let me ask you a question. Like, do you think of these things and then it just comes to you?
That's an interesting question, because I don't really have a writing process like some writers do. I don't do outlines. I do stories. And what happens is I get an idea for a story and I start writing. And the story kind of writes itself as I move along. The ideas develop, and I see this has to happen, or this element needs to be in there. So I try to bring a new element in, and so forth. And it kind of grows. I don't know, like a tree grows.
Yeah.
When it first sprouts, it's just little green sprout coming out of the ground. Then you look at that tree 100 years later, and it's a big old with branches here and there. That's kind of way my stories grow, but much faster than that, fortunately.
Well, I'm glad it grows a lot faster than that, because then you wouldn't be here.
No, I would never get done.
It'll never get done. Wow. So, when it comes to like discovery and all of that, and the streets and all that, are they made up entirely, or are you very I would say map wise, you try to keep it as true to the situation that you could when it comes to the geography?
Yeah, I'm conscious of the geography. I wouldn't say that I'm super strict as far as, but like this story being set in the Midwest, you're not dealing with a lot of mountains and stuff. I've got another story that I have written that is coming out that has the same. It's in a different setting, and I've made the property description or the geographical descriptions fit the location of that story. So yeah, I mean, I'm conscious of that, but not bound by it. If I need a little twist, I'll throw it in there.
Is that you in the background in the sailor suit?
No, well, it's me and my dad. My father was a World War II veteran, and my daughter, and I was a Navy veteran, but not World War II during and after Vietnam. So my daughter took my dad's picture and my picture and put them together and so his me and him, the whites. My dad's in whites, I was in blues. So
that's nice. Well, yeah, I want to say thank you so much for I don't want to say thank you for your service, because I was reviewing a book the other day, and that kind of closes the conversation. But what I want to say is thank you for protecting me.
Well, I hope we did a good job.
You did. I'm still here.
Yes, indeed, and that's wonderful. That's a valuable contribution.
Yes. Well, thank you, and thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay, so how many books have you written?
Well, I've written 2, and I have about 4 more milling around on my computer.
Oh, sweetness.
Yeah.
Sweetness. Wow. So in the future, I know that you said you have one coming out, but in the future, do you kind of stick with the same kind of thing, or do you kind of jump around? Is it mystery, murder, mystery, ghosts, and then it's something different? And how do you do that?
The answer to that simple answer is no. My other book, which is entitled the Messiah Project, is entirely different. It's about a pastor who had been a Vietnam in Vietnam. He was a Green Beret in Vietnam, then got out and became a pastor, and his adventures in dealing with there's a lot of prophecy involved, etc. So yeah, I mean, I know, and the other stories I'm working on are nothing like this one.
Mm-hmm. Wow, so you're diverse. That's nice. It keeps it interesting, you know.
I think so. Well, I have to write what interests me, or it doesn't ring, it doesn't snap, you know.
I hear you. I hear you. Wow. Well, I want to thank you so much. What kind of advice do you have for authors out there that that aren't really conventional? Like you said, you really don't have like a structure. You just kind of go with the story. And I haven't had someone that told me specifically that in the past. What kind of advice do you give to people who don't believe that they can write because they don't really have a plan?
I would say start writing and find a way that works for you. You know, I tried an outline and more structured. It just didn't work for me. I'm too, I don't know. My mind goes where it goes, and I don't like it restricted with an outline. You know, I do the same thing when I speak. I preach some. I do the same thing. I'll take an outline, and often I just forget it's there. You know, I like for my mind to be free to run.
I hear you. Yeah, my mind is too unconstrained. I'm a girl. Yes, that's not gonna work for me either. Just put it my way. Jeff, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it so very much. And I'm gonna put the link to your book in the description. And I want to make sure that I say it right. And I know I didn't say it right the first time. So it's the 13th Street Haberdashery.
There you go.
Aha! Said it.
You got it.
Hey, I did it. Thank you so much, Jeff. And how do you pronounce your last name? It's Lemire?
It's Lemire, yep.
Oh, is that French?
It is French.
That's nice. It's
so I have been told. It's American now.
Yeah, it is.
We adopt everybody, don't we?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. And we're going to put the link to the book in the description box below. And that way you can kind of get involved and see what happened to these girls. Oh, my God.
Read the book. Good book.
Definitely read it
for myself. All right.
Thank you, guys. And thank you so much. And don't forget to dare to be different. Until next time, guys. Bye.